Okay, let's start. So, I have this theory where what you think and what you say and what you do, if these three things are aligned in a way, you live a much satisfied life. In a way, like not satisfied, but um, you'll be good. Like if you are somebody who thinks a lot, who's an overthinker, like if you grew up in a household, in a family where you saw a certain hardship, you did not get everything that you wanted, you tend to become a overthinker or maybe just a thinker. I mean, it completely depends on your biology and how you operate as a human. But I am one person who thinks a lot. I mean, I think I'm a thinker, definitely, but I end up overthinking too. So in that case, like I mean, you just name it, and I have almost thought about it in my life. I'm 28 years old, and in this 28 years of my life, I have like had my share of good struggle coming out of a lower middle class family, taking my family with me now, and doing stuff which I never imagined I could do. And it just feels, I mean, the past feels like a story sometimes. It doesn't feel like that those things actually happened. Maybe like I will keep that story part for some other time. But this time I really want to discuss about your thoughts, your words, and your actions, how they really form you as a human. And like if you're thinking A and you do B and your actions are C, then there is a major imbalance in terms of your personality and how, I mean, your relation with yourself. Like I've always seen myself as a third person. I do things that, like I'm Shravan, and I do things for Shravan a lot of times because I can distinguish myself from myself and a entity which is called Shravan. Like he exists in this real world. He has real life problems. He deals with everything. But me as a person, no, sorry, me um, as as a being, as a survivor on this planet, has a very different take on life in general. Because I'm not. This is not a very nihilistic thought, but we don't matter, and at the same time we do matter. Our actions, our reactions, everything is connected. Like what I do is directly or indirectly connected to you as well. What you do comes down to me as well. So it's you how does the cycle work, right? So there are like two gears, right? They, if this rotates, this one rotates too. So like and then the entire chain forms. So no matter what I do, and people think that like our actions don't like really do anything in someone else's life, but whatever you do or whatever I do impacts the entire world, and whatever the world does, it impacts us directly. So we, because we don't have that tendency to look at the bigger picture all the time, because we are so concentrated at what is happening with us. Like we say we don't live in the moment, but we do, we kind of do, because we do not expand our thought into how a bigger picture would actually look. And we don't have that brain, we did not evolve in that manner. So yeah, so this is basically for overthinkers, like somebody who thinks, who likes to think. And in that case, what happens is, like, you have a thought, you have a personality. Maybe you're introvert, an extrovert, ambivert, whatever. Like mostly we are all combination, we cannot be like one person. I am majorly an introvert. I like to talk. I always knew that I wanted to express myself in some way, and maybe to find a platform. If I was born few decades back, maybe this would not be, this wouldn't happen, of course. Maybe then we could have done some other media. Maybe I could be sitting around bunch of people and talking about life or anything in general, right? So in that way, always try to sync these three things. Like these three things really make you as a person. Like whatever you think about yourself, whatever you think about the world, and you talk the similar thing, and your actions are cohesive, they're all together, then you lead a very fulfilling life. And wherever there is a clash between what you think and how you talk and what you do, then your image, like Shravan's image in my own head, like I'm treating head is I mean my mind as a very different entity as compared to what things Shravan do in the real world. Like the actions, the thoughts, I'm not saying that thoughts don't come in your mind, they do, definitely they do, they come in your mind, but just taking myself as a very different entity and Shravan as a different entity, and the things that Shravan does impacts me. So a lot of times you have to, like how they say in Gita, right? This mind is your weapon, and you have to either you use it or your mind uses you, right? So you have to see it like that, like you have to, bend certain things to make this mind work for you. So there, every time when I have had differences in my thought, my actions and my words, I have not, I've not been, like, I won't say happy, because happy is very temporary thing, but fulfilled in a way where I am not satisfied, but like okay with my existence, like okay being at the moment, where I am not troubling myself into, I'm not digging a bigger, like, hole for myself into overthinking, right? So that usually happens, like how they say, like what is anxiety, what is this things, these are basically, when you know that you can do certain thing but you don't do it, you just know that these things are possible and you don't end up doing it, that makes you anxious. If you just put in the action, then you might not be anxious of the fact that is making you anxious at the moment. You just know that you'll be able to do it and you're not doing it. Those things are making you anxious because you see the possibility of that thing happening, right? So that's how anxiety works in my definition, at least what I have thought about it. So I usually like pick a word, pick a sentiment, pick an emotion, and then think about it. Just make that thing your like just question it like a scientist. What would a scientist do, right? Like if the person is discovering atoms, right, like neutrons, protons, how they were formed and stuff like that. Similarly, you have to question yourself, become your own scientist. I mean, by scientist I mean a mind of a scientist, how without keeping any biases, if you are able to think, if you are able to process certain things, then uh, nothing changes, to be very honest. Like when I was young, when I really got into spirituality, discovering myself and trying to go deeper into my mind and stuff like that, I thought, like, because we always have some, like, derivative, we have some like motive behind things that we do. We think that if we do certain things we'll become more successful, if you just be more like, spiritual, we'll end up making more money, maybe I'll be more I'll be more, like, I'll have more peace of mind, and that is what you want to achieve. So whenever you have uh, I'm not saying the goal is not, like, in the real world you do need a goal, you do need certain things to, like how Shah Rukh Khan says, right? Don't become a philosopher before you be successful. Like, you have to be successful, you have to have some material wealth, or something has to be there. Like, I'm sitting in a cozy room. I just took a hot shower. Good day. We did shoot a lot of content. I've finished few brands. We have work. We are able to make money. So that is why I am able to talk like this. Like 10 years down, like just a decade back, I had nothing, like zero. Aside from maybe negative, I had debt. I do not come from a well-to-do family, and I just had to put in effort to wherever I am at the moment. So yeah, so if I was talking about life like this, and uh, it it wouldn't make sense to me because I did not do anything, and I was just, it was all in my head. Now the more I do, I definitely want to achieve stuff, but then at the same time, the definition of the idea of success what society sells you is very different, because I mean, success is very personal. what success actually means. For somebody, success could just be freedom, right? Like just being free from um, anything, maybe the monetarily, maybe like not having burden of the people who used to pull you down when you were growing up. A lot of times that happens, right? So, or maybe like somebody wants to be rich and not go back to the situation that they had to face when they were young. So stuff like that, right? Like it is not, I mean, success is not just being famous or making money and everything. It's a very personal choice that we make, and it's very different for, you know, every individual. Like it is very different, trust me. Like it is, I mean, the definition of success that I had like 7 8 years back, I do not have the same definition right now. And I see life very differently, uh, in a way. Like if I mean, I create fashion, I mean, I create fashion content, I'm a fashion influencer in a way. But if you asked me like 5 6 years back, like would I be doing this? No, for me this was like, matlab, are you nuts? Like why would I create fashion content? This is so shallow and stuff like that. I used to think that way. Like if I'm smart, if I'm spiritual, if I'm somebody who is enlightened, why would I want to do something as silly as fashion? But then now I think it very differently. It just means to an end. I have a strength in fashion. I know how to style. I know how to present myself in front of the camera. I know certain things. So just playing by your strength, and and you are able to make money through it. That is even better, right? So it just happened to me. Like I did not plan it. I maybe I did plan, but it was like now it does not disturb me the way it used to disturb me a few years back, when I thought what people might think, like I'm a fashion creator, maybe like I'm not smart enough, that's why I'm doing fashion. Maybe I could just start my podcast, maybe I could run a business, and maybe then I would be able to stand out as a smart guy and then get more validated for things that I do. But it doesn't really matter. And that is really true, that people don't have time to think about you as much as you think about yourself. So the moment you let these things out of your mind, you tend to live a better life, a more comfortable life. At the end of the day, what we want, like we want comfort, right? The definition of comfort changes with time to time, right? Couple of years back, what comfort felt was very different, and now what comfort feels is very different. But then once your basic necessities are, like, you know, fulfilled, maybe then you are able to think in this direction. Because if you are not able to put 2 meals a day on your table, then this conversation is nothing but bullshit. Okay, you need to have at least, you know, uh, made something where, like, you know, you can live a comfortable life. If you cannot do that, then don't waste your time into, you know, going deep into your mind, or being spiritual, or thinking about, like, you know, going deeper and stuff like that. Those things are pointless if you are not able to, you know, uh, like, if your survival is at stake. If you ask somebody who's hungry and tell them to think about life, that person is not going to, like, that person is not going to do shit. Okay, that person is hungry, he needs food more than anything else. So first you have to fix those things, and then maybe you can climb the other ladder of life. So not everything happens equally for everyone. Everyone comes from a very different position of life, but there are definitely stages which I have felt that, like, you know, we all go through certain stages of life. Like maybe the beginning 5 10 years, you grow as a kid, you become a teenager, then you have a very different responsibilities at that point. Then once you cross your teenage life, you have a very different responsibilities. Like how Pandavas were, or maybe people were taught in gurukuls, right? They had to leave their house, go and train themselves, and then become a warrior and stuff like that. That happens in the real world too. That is very very. I mean, when I was young, I remember my uncle telling me, like, we all have our share of struggle. It depends when you, like, you know, you just have to complete that, like, if you do your struggles early in life, rest of the life, you will have less of struggle and a good quality of life. And if you just have too much fun in the beginning of your life, you tend to struggle a lot later on. And I have seen that in my family, I've seen that in my close circle, I've seen that happening with people who just took their life too lightly, didn't do shit. I'm not talking about ultra rich people who come from, but still, even they have their share of struggle. In a way, it's not just money. A lot of people who are rich, they struggle in their head to, like be better in front of their fathers, or maybe, I don't know, like I don't have a father, so I don't know how to put that out for people who have one. I remember, like when I was a kid, when my friends used to get calls, like, dad calling and stuff like that. I never had one. So I always used to question myself, what would it feel like to have a father in your life, right? So in that way, what I try to imply here is that everyone has their struggle. It's not about rich, it's not about poor, it's not about middle class. We all do. It's just that you just have to decide, um, how I mean, you just have to decide, like, whether you choose to do it early in your early life, or maybe after you cross 30 or after you cross 25, and then you start your struggle. Then life becomes a bit difficult, because then the responsibilities that you have is way bigger than, I mean, there's more leverage when you're young, right? You can struggle and you can have fun at the same time. If you're just having fun, and there is no work that you're putting in to make yourself better in a way, like, this is completely self-help kind of talk, okay, where you are, self-help is bullshit in a way, but it also helps. I mean, see, these things are very complex to explain. Like, I mean, if I have to argue if self help is good, I would say no. But at the same time, I would say yes. It depends on which stage of life you are in right now. So, a lot of times, like, what I have felt is that, I mean, coming back to the point, which is thought, action, and words. Uh, like, I'll give you an example. Like, suppose I, uh, like, just take an idea of pretending. You might not like a person, so in your head you just despise that person. But then when that person comes in front of you, you have to talk sweet because, I don't know, you have some motive. And then your actions are very different from what you think, what you say, and what you do. So then the problem starts, because there is no sync between these three things. And now, when you look at yourself in the mirror, or you just think, your image goes down in front of your own eyes. And I think that is the biggest problem that an individual would have, is that their own image in front of their eyes, right? I don't care what any Suresh, Ramesh, Raghav, Dinesh think about me. What really matters is what I think about myself. And this is like, the self love people talk about. I think this is what self love is. Not skincare and doing bullshit, or watching a movie and stuff like that. That is not self care. Self care is when you can think about, I mean, not yourself selfish, like, not in a selfish way, I'm saying, but you can think beyond a certain parameter that the world has set for you. And you just go deeper into your own mind. You just explore the idea of who you are, why you are here. Like, I guess I was 16 when this question popped in my head, like, who am I? Why, what am I doing in this planet Earth? Which we named this planet Earth, of course. So, I mean, this part of rock, what am I doing here, right? I mean, what is my purpose? Like, why do I have to even exist? um, and then I ended up watching Fight Club, and this idea even, like, fucked my head. I was like, shit, I was not wrong. There are people who are making movies about it. So maybe there is no purpose. Maybe we are just born by chance, and we just have to convince ourselves by giving ourselves some purpose to, live. Or else, like, there is, like, either you become a complete nihilistic person, or you kind of find a middle ground and become an absurdist, where there is no point of living, there is no point of dying. So why not let things happen, and not die, right? Just try to find meaning. Or, and even if you don't, nothing's, I mean, that does not make any difference. Like, even if you do find a purpose, even if you don't find a purpose, it's just that it's kind of delusion. Like, you kind of sell a thought to yourself, because, or else, I mean, the survival becomes very difficult, because if you just be a nihilistic person, then you end up uh, you know like, you make your life very difficult in a way. Like, you become very depressive, depression hits you, you overthink a lot, you might take your life. Some people do. I know a lot of people who just want to die. Like, even sometimes I feel like, what is the point of living? Like, what do I do now? I'm not even 30 and I feel shit. But I've just lived these many years of my life. How will I, if I survive till 60, 70, what will I do? I don't know. So I there are a lot of times when I think about death in a very chill way, by the way, like not in a scared way. And what if I'm gonna die? I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna die, and like, death is cool. Like, I think that is the only reality, is death, because there is nothing beyond death that is true. All of this could be a dream. All of this, what I'm imagining, is just my idea of the world. What actual world is, we don't know. You think about this universe very differently. I'm not talking about laws of the physics or science. I'm talking about just the idea of the universe, how you perceive certain things. Even in quantum, like, the slit experiment, when the observer is there, the light behaves in a different way. When there is no observer, the light behave differently. So there's so much to learn from, there's so much philosophy in science, there's so much philosophy in physics, there's so much philosophy in quantum world is very different from the uh, I mean, the where the subject is bigger. Like, quantum is like, goes like beyond micro, nano. So there, the laws of physics defy. There's a very different universe altogether. So we don't know. The idea is to just make your own reality. So the in all of this, what actually becomes the real truth is death. So every second, every minute of my life, I'm just getting closer to death. And yeah, that is beautiful, because because what is there except death, right? I mean, death is the only reality. The recording a very long video, just to, like, I just wanted to do this. I did not have a thought, to be honest. I was just taking shower, and I just realized I just wanted to talk. And we just, like, placed this camera, and I started talking. Maybe I'll upload it tomorrow on YouTube, or maybe Spotify. I don't know which platform will pick. But I just want to make this a digital diary kind of thing, so that maybe, like, after a year or so, when I get back, I can just rewatch myself, how, like, who I was, what was I doing, and stuff like that. uh, yeah, so I mean, that is the crux. Maybe, like, just don't pretend. The moment there is a lot of when you try to pretend a lot, um, you end up making your life very difficult, for yourself, your surrounding, everyone. So there has to be a sync. So that is what the main thought was to make this video. That to explain this theory, that your thought, your words, your reactions have to align. If they are not aligning, there is a major problem. So yeah, these three things: thought, action, thoughts, words, action. Cool. Apart from that, what's new? I'm traveling to like few Asian countries tomorrow. I've never gone international apart from Nepal and Bhutan. These are the only countries I've been to. I've never gone out of India that way. This is going to be my first international trip, because not that I don't like, I have not like, it's just fairly new idea for me that I have accepted money as a maybe we'll talk about this in some other, because other episode. I don't know if this is episode, I don't know, like, we'll talk about it maybe in the next video. But for now, I think this is it. Let me know if you're watching, and if you find me somehow, it's good. If you don't, at least I'll find myself. Cheers.